Okay, should be in a second. Okay, we are streaming live. Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Actually, we are blessed in Chicago with a couple nice days. I hear it's going to get colder, and I think tomorrow's going to be really warm, but it's beautiful today. And you know what? We have a subject that's just, it's crazy. It's just crazy. And a couple of you guys are probably going to get mad at us talking about this right after Halloween, which is kind of apropos. we have some stuff we're going to share that you're going to go, oh my goodness, I had no idea. And believe me, I didn't either. But with that, I just want to say, hey, Laura, how you doing today?
I am doing great. Do you remember the old song from years ago? A spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down.
Yep.
Well, we're going to talk about sugar and how it reacts to inflammation. So actually is a spoonful of sugar causes you to have more medicine in your life. So we're going to talk about how sugar causes your body to have inflammation. All right. With that, I'm going to start off with saying, I know a lot about inflammation because that is 99% of my medical issues. Okay. But we're going to talk about it because a lot of people don't understand how sugar really reacts to inflammation. And we're going to go into all that detail of stuff that we learned. And remember, Debbie and I are not experts on this.
Right.
These are subjects that we're passionate about and that we do some research on it to talk to you about it. Plus, we talk about our own experiences too. But with that, years ago, they claimed inflammation was caused by trans fats, and all the issues with your body was because of trans fats. And so the food FDA or whatever, they decided that they were going to conquer this. So they took away a lot of the trans fats and different things. And so then we we're left with sugar. Okay. Mm-hmm. Sugar is absolutely huge because there's sugar in so many products that are out there. I mean, if you look at, and I'm not talking only sugar, I'm talking about fructose, anything that has something to do with sugar. And also, not only raw sugar, like we would eat sugar and candy and stuff like that, but also in carbohydrates like bread and all that stuff with high carbs. Carbs turn into sugar in the body. Oh my gosh, that took me forever to understand that. Because I was always taught that, you have breads and you have all this stuff that's grains and all that was going to be good for you. But actually it's not. So we're going to talk a little bit about that too today. So Debbie, was there something you want to start off talking about sugar?
Sure. Well, here, you know what? Let's just explain a couple things first before we start. Let's lay some groundwork and let's say this. And then at the very end, I have this little chart thing that I want to actually kind of explain some of the amounts of sugar and certain things, because I don't think that, and myself included, that I had a clue. First of all, hopefully everybody knows what the daily, types of requirements or recommendations are for you for certain things. And, that goes for everything. That goes for salt, that goes for all different things. Okay. But they say that you should actually have, for women, 25 grams or less, or 6 teaspoons of sugar in your whole entire day at the most. Okay. So there are probably a lot of people that start their breakfast off over that, which is bad. Okay. Which is bad. And so the sugar, okay, which this is where Lori and I kind of want to really hit on it, because Lori and I came up with this as we were talking one day. There's 2 big components and things that sugar can do to you. And one of the biggest things is it obviously, we're talking about inflammation. Okay. And there's acute inflammation and there's chronic inflammation. Okay. And so acute is going to be like a short duration. It happens from days to a couple weeks and no longer than a month. Okay. It's usually resolved as you make and change your habits. But chronic inflammation, which is something that's actually going to lead you into things more autoimmune wise. Okay. and can but make the body feed into diseases. Okay.
Right.
So again, we are no experts here, but we've learned a lot. Okay. And we're still learning. And a lot of these things that are actually being put in front of us are actually helping us be able to explain to you. Okay. And at the same time. So with that, Laura, do you want to go? Is there anything that you want to touch on? Go through, maybe the effects that you see. There's a great topic right here that talks about this.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I mean, I could sit here and name all these different names.
It's crazy. Yeah.
But I'm going to name some products that have sugar in it.
Okay.
For example, anything that's a syrup, an agave. What is that, Deb?
Agave or agave?
Agave. Oh, okay.
Agave. Okay. Yeah.
Maltose, dextrose, molasses, anything that sugar is manufactured in the goods. And this is where you read your labels. You know what? I'm going to tell you something. Debbie and I talked about this. I lost 40 pounds to have my knee surgery. And you know how I did it this time? I did it with getting rid of the sugar. Okay. That doesn't mean I was perfect. I haven't been perfect lately since the surgery, but I realized it was not me that I wasn't losing the weight because I kept eating these products. Okay. Even if it was a little amount, I was eating these products. And they actually, and like we talked about, sugar and arthritis are like this, the hand in hand. Okay. It's known to increase the inflammation in your body. Okay, now I don't mean to keep bringing myself into this, but I have gone through this, so I want to explain what happened to me. Years and years ago, I had a doctor that couldn't figure out why I was not getting well. And so she came back and she told me, your inflammation in your body is extremely high. I had to have a special test, extremely high. And they said, well, your sugar's your diabetes is out of control. It was 11 something, which is extremely high. And so that means my blood sugar was over 250 on average a day. And normal is 80 to 110. And so, I blew that doctor off. I said, screw it. And I didn't stop taking care of myself again. Well, all these things were happening to me, and then I finally quit work because I could not deal with stuff. And I thought it was my multiple sclerosis that I had that was causing it. But it turns out it was really all this sugar, because I then went to a doctor that we did all kinds of blood work and everything. And we found out I had fibromyalgia. I had all these autoimmune disease. MS is autoimmune. My fibromyalgia is. And I had chronic pain. I had actual chronic arthritis in parts of my body that you could actually see the bulk on my feet of arthritis. And that was all from sugar. And I still wasn't, convinced that I was going to get rid of my sugar, because in my mind, I thought I was going to beat everything. So after a few years of medication being increased because of not getting any better, it wasn't because I was reducing sugar. I was not doing that at all. I was probably eating more. So I really didn't gain any weight. Yeah, and more medication was put on me. Do you know that I take 13 medications a day? 13. And therefore, blood pressure, for cholesterol, for my diabetes, insulin. I take two kinds of insulin plus a pill. It's 13 I take, okay? Depression. I get depression because I'm hurting. There's just all these things. So when I found out I had to lose this 40 pounds for my knee surgery replacement, and I'm in so much pain with the knee, right? I said, I will do anything to get this knee replaced. And so I had to go see a nutritionist and that. And it finally made sense to me about how these sugars and these carbohydrates were actually causing me the problems. So I decided to start counting some carbs, But then I decided that, I'm not going to be sitting there all day counting carbs like I should, but I know I wouldn't. So it wouldn't be like part of my routine. Eventually I'd get sick of doing it. So I decided that I could eat food that didn't have high in carbs, because you get used to like meat and stuff and all the stuff that has high carbs that I stopped eating, but I ate more of the stuff that was not carbs. And I ate till I was full, not till I was over full. And now the weight is coming off like crazy. And I might be eating a lot, but I'm eating the right foods. And that's the thing that I have. And so my inflammation has gone down a lot. 2 days ago, I was very frustrated with everything with the election going on and nervous. I did eat some sugar, some candy. And did I pay the price for it yesterday? So I'm just using me as an example. If you out there are suffering with this, you need to go to your doctor and find out how your blood sugar is, how your cholesterol, all that stuff, and come up with a plan. Because we can live sugar-free.
Right.
Because when it boils down to it, having that inflammation and having that pain is not worth it. So do you have anything to say about that, or anything to do about the sugar or the inflammation?
You know what? I want to add in there that I just want to make sure that people are getting what we're saying, but I want them to not go for the crutch of going to the actual artificial sweeteners.
Yeah.
Because I want to just say that could be a whole nother topic, but I'm just going to make mention that there's been some very intense studies on some of the ramifications that those can cause in the body. So, I mean, you can learn to not have it. Okay. Do you want to grab that piece of chocolate? Go for that piece of dark chocolate maybe, and try to have it be more pure chocolate and not have a lot of added stuff in there. I mean, we all have to have something sometime, right?
Right.
But removing it in your complete food groups and what you're feeding your body, it goes back to, would you put water in your gas tank, or would you put something weird? Because what you're putting in your body is how your body's going to function. Okay. And knowing that that's not good. And some people don't tolerate it the same as others, so you can put two different people together, you can put siblings together, you can put family members together, and they can have different ways that their body breaks things down. But it's these other risk factors too, like you talked about the risk of diabetes, you talked about there's cardiovascular disease, you guys, heart disease, obesity leads to some of that stuff, but you don't have to be a heavy person to have this problem. You could be like, oh, I'm metabolized really well, I burn it off, I can eat all this sugar. No, you know what? It's not good. Do you find that you're a person that you're eating that way, but do you get sick often? Are your immunities, or do you not know, or have you gone through something that you can start to think and say, whoa, I wonder why? Do you have more aches and pains that someone else has? Arthritis, like Lori was saying, that's another thing, So there's a lot in here we're really throwing at everybody. We're kind of really not actually going to be able to explain every bit of this. What we want to do is just open your eyes. And we want you to actually say to yourself, look at what you're eating. Look at your daily routine. Look at what you have. I was listening to a very interesting podcast, and it was talking about how good an apple can be. Eat an apple. But it also said, team your apple up, believe it or not, with peanut butter. And I don't know. Okay. And the reason it said that, and I'm going to flub it, I'm not going to be able to explain it properly, but I'm going to tell you that something about the way that your body breaks it down, the peanut butter helps it so that the sugar doesn't become sugar in your system. Because you guys got to remember that fruits and vegetables have sugar in there. Okay, but it's more of a natural sugar. But you can't live on all the natural sugar too much too, because it's all in moderation and balance. Okay. And I think the one message Lori is really giving us, and she said it once before recently, it's all about this like balance on your plate, like having the right balance of items. You can have some of the food, but you've got to have the great balance so that it kind of like balances everything as your body is going to digest it and absorb it. So that is kind of what I had to say, Laura. I think that, oh, and you know what? There's symptoms of inflammation, guys. Maybe you think you don't have it, right?
Right,
Maybe we
right.
should go over those, Laura. There's like 5 different things. Do we want to go over that? I'm going to turn it
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Okay.
Redness, okay.
Mhm.
Inflammation also could be gout, okay.
Mhm.
And I talk about this. My son Tony, he gets gout. He's only 34. He's been getting gout since he's been like 28. And he gets it from too much sugar. Now they usually say gout is caused, the inflammation from gout is caused from meat and fish, like seafood fish.
Mhm.
But he found out that he gets it from sugar. So he has to stay away from sugar. And I'm sure some of my gout episodes were probably from sugar too. But redness is awesome. You know, you get redness on your body parts that are inflamed. You get them on your feet, you get them like on your
Mhm.
body, anywhere there's inflammation, there can be redness. It doesn't mean all the time. Hotness is big. Okay, if your body is hot at a certain place, and that's especially on joints. If your joints feel
Mhm.
like they're hot, that is inflammation. Swelling. Oh my gosh, should I read something? I listened to something on YouTube this morning about swelling, Deb. I forgot to even tell you about this.
Okay.
It was interesting how your body gets water
Mhm.
at the end of the day. So what happens is you eat something sugar, you have too much of something that's sugar. What it does is the sugar attaches to your body like a sponge. Okay.
Okay.
It goes by your joints and it leaves, it takes all the water, it takes water out of your body. Okay. So it takes,
Wow.
I should say, and it sucks it in. And then it deposits in your body near your joints. And then the sugar is processed and it goes through, you know, your body and everything, but it leaves the water there that it took up in parts of your body. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense.
By the end of the day, all that water is in your joints and hasn't been relieved, and it goes to where gravity goes, to your legs. And your
Yeah.
swell up and your hands swell up, you know.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
because the sugar takes the body parts as sponges and takes all the water out of it.
That's
Isn't that
crazy.
interesting? I
It's
would,
extremely interesting.
yeah, I was listening to that on YouTube. I'll go on YouTube. There's so much stuff on this stuff.
Isn't it crazy though? And
Yeah,
okay, so I just want to move on to this one part
Yeah.
because Lori and I are kind of excited. We just got to
Yeah.
share this. I know we're going to give you some meat and potatoes here. We're going to try to post this, but we have to ask for permission
oh
first.
yeah, definitely.
Okay. We're going to shout out to Evolve Chiropractic over in Downers Grove, Dr. Susan and her team. Katie sent this to me today. Thank you, Katie, if you're watching this, because it's really
Yeah.
cool. But they had put this chart together and I was blown away by the amount of stuff is in here. Now, remember we said for women that you should have, what was it? No more than 25 grams. And that would be 6 teaspoons, men 36 grams, and that would be 9 teaspoons. Okay. Of sugar. Okay. So raisins. Okay. A box of raisins has 120 calories in it, but it has 7 grams of sugar. So that's high, but not horribly high. Okay. But picture this, 5 Tootsie Rolls. Do you know how many times I've eaten 5 Tootsie Rolls? Because I'll eat one, then another one, another one. 5 Tootsie Rolls has that same 120 calories, but it has 17 grams of sugar. So which one is actually the better choice here?
Raisins, yeah,
Give
that's
you an
right,
idea.
exactly. That's
mean, come
exactly
on,
what you have
right?
to do. Right.
Okay. So,
Exactly.
and there's this chart that we're going to ask permission to share and we're going to ask them, I'm going to be there tomorrow. So I ask them, it actually has a visual. They took a little baggie and they put the amount of sugar next to the item so you could visually see. Now, 2 Reese's peanut butter cups, okay, which each one has 160 calories in there, right? Okay. 16 grams of sugar. Now we went back and remember we said 25 grams is for the whole day. Okay. How many Reese's did you eat at Halloween? I got to tell you guys, I didn't eat Halloween candy. I'm so proud of myself. I had one
Neither did
piece
I.
yesterday. I was really driven with it. Okay, now let's go over to something that we normally would put maybe in our grandchildren's or children's lunches or give them as a snack. Animal crackers. Okay, animal crackers is on here. A bag of Barnum Bailey's animal crackers, which I'm going to assume every single person here has actually tried, which they're good. There's 120 calories in them. Okay, in a package, a bag. So a bag is only like however many, like, but it has 7 grams of sugar. So now 7 grams of sugar is 14% of your daily value. So now what if your child that you have around you actually decides to have a couple bags? That I don't know what the children's average is, but let's go to something else that I think is kind of interesting. Haribo, I think you call it, Gold Bears, which would be a gummy bear. Okay, those things are good, all right? They taste good, right? So 3 little mini bags, the ones that are this big, are 120 calories. So a lot of these things are in the same calorie zone. They thought this out really good the way they did it. 16 grams of sugar, which is 32% of your daily value. Those 3 little bags are less than a little like palm amount of gummy bears. And if you scarf those down really fast, that's crazy.
Mhm.
I'm going to end it with something that I think a lot of people like. Okay, here's another one. A fun size, you guys, not a full size. Okay, a
Oh,
fun size.
the big, sorry, I think you
Yeah,
can't.
this big, okay, of a Snickers, which would be my go-to, right? Because I love
Right.
Snickers, okay? 80 calories, 9 grams of sugar, 16% of your daily value. I think that's just insane, you know? It goes on. They have more stuff in here. They've got, Halloween. Okay, let's talk about this though. Okay, now here's another thing. We talk about pretzels. Okay, we talk about healthy snacks, which I think pretzels can be, depending. Okay, now you can buy. There is this one brand that I buy by Snyder's that has low sodium. They don't have as much like salt on there because the salt's not good either to have in too much,
Right.
But the fun size bag of Halloween pretzels that is by a company called Utz or UTAZ. I don't know how you say that. One little bag has 50 calories. Okay, so that's only we're talking a couple little pretzels right here. That's it, right? 1 gram of sugar. Okay, so we're okay there. 240 grams of sodium, which is 10% of your daily value. So sometimes people say, oh, I get salt, but then I crave sweet. So now they go to the sweet. So now they're eating both. And they're like, okay, that's just that good. And just saying. Are me and Lori perfect? No. Okay, believe me, we're not. We eat
No.
we eat the wrong thing sometimes. But I guess what we're trying to say, guys, is that you are who you eat. Just like we said, filling the gas tank with water, would we do that? Or would we fill it with, gas or the right proper amount and kind of gas? You wouldn't put diesel gas in your regular car because that's not right, right? You wouldn't put regular gas in the diesel car. So these are just the things. And in reality of it all, even though this is a like we're nailing it here with these ideas, you got to keep drinking and flushing your body out with a lot of water. So if you happen to be in one of those zones where you've been bad, which we all go through, make sure you're flushing the water and next day just not kick it back, So with that, Laura, I'm turning to you.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I just want to go off real quick and then we'll, figure out how we're going to end this, but there's so much information here.
I know, right?
I have issues with my liver. I have what they call a fatty liver. And my fatty liver can cause a lot of problems. All right. And for years, I'm talking about 25 years ago, from 25 years ago, being in an ER because I was in a lot of pain or something. And the doctor used to come in there and say, your liver is not very good. Do you know that are you an alcoholic? And I said, no, I don't even barely drink alcohol. And they kept coming back in there. And that for years, they kept saying that. So this last doctor I saw said, I understand why your liver's not well. It's because of your sugar. And I said, well, gosh, that makes sense after all these years. So people that come back that their liver's not working well, it's not just because they're alcoholic, it's because they're sugar abusing themselves. I just have to make that note. So if you have that issue, look into it. As far as everything else, Debbie, I hope that we get the okay to put that about the sugar
Yes,
because
I'm
that's
sure.
so great. And all I could say is that you have to think of your future. And this is what I'm telling my kids now. If you don't start taking care of yourself, all different ways, going to doctors, getting these tests done. Debbie and I have been talking about this for a while now. Otherwise, you're going to end up in a situation where you're in chronic pain all the time and you're in the doctors all the time. And I am speaking from experience, and I have no problem with people knowing this. But take responsibility for your health, because you don't want in your later years, okay, I'm only 61 now, but I feel like I'm 85 at times. You won't have a good older age because you're going to have all these issues that you're going to have to deal with. And you're going to be retired and you're not going to feel like you're ready to be able to do stuff because you're in pain all the time. So that's just my advice to people. So do some research on this, look into this. Go on YouTube, go on in Google and look up inflammatory arthritis, anything to do with sugar, and you will be surprised what you find out. With that, Debbie?
I just wanted to say, Laura, thank you for being open about that. I want to say that it's not too late to get conscious.
Right.
Okay? It really isn't. Okay, maybe we can't repair everything in our bodies, but you know what? We can certainly do the best we can. And I think this is a great subject. It kind of gets us in the thinking process, because with the holidays coming up, what are the big Italian and the Polish and the Italian? We all bring out the sweets and everything. And, our family's scaled back a lot on sweets. We've tried the most we can to have just minimal or try to go more, better. But with that, I just want to say, everybody have a fantastic day. Enjoy your day. Try to get outside if you can. Share us. Please promote what we're doing, because, and again, if you know anybody or any subject that you want us to dig into and find out more about, or you have anybody you want to highlight, get on here with us, please send us messages, and we love it. Okay. And we're still searching for, topics all along. And I just want to make one note, though. I meant to say this before, Lori, that Lori and I have talked about doing panels. We're in the process of creating these panels of people, but it's been a scheduling challenge. We have not been able to make it all coordinate. We'd rather get it done right than not, and just get it not done. So in the future, you're going to see us doing some panels of people, and we're excited because they're going to be like-minded and they're going to bring a lot of value and a lot to offer. So with that, Laura, why don't you close us out?
Okay, I will. I want to say again, have a great week, and we'll see you on Friday. And have a great day, and think twice about eating that sugar. And I'm Lori.
And I'm Debbie.
And we're Friends Helping Friends. Take care now. See you,
guys.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.